don't get married for the wedding, get married for the marriage. He ticked all the boxes, and so I thought, okay, this is a perfect match. You know how you do your career path but it doesn't always work.
People say that stay together for the children. Sometimes you've got to walk out
For the children.
For the children.
Yeah.
You have to protect them from...
The strength obviously comes all from our companionship, because we are best friends. We, understand each other. We're also studying the Gita together. As a couple, we're doing things together to gain strength. We're trying to build a family constitution where we create these values, and, so the children are part of that. The children started meeting and said, we told the children, at least have 2 holidays together, sacrosanct. All of us.
I would actually like to understand a little bit about Safira, where she studied, the relationship that she shared with you, and what were the various milestones that eventually culminated into this, success.
So Safira's journey has been, so let me explain the dynamics. So we have 4 children.
Mm-hmm.
We have Samaira, the oldest, Safira, who's mine, Kian, who's 15, and Azarius, who's Sunjay and ours. We brought these innocent children into this world. And our responsibility now that we have that realization and clarity is to give them a good life. And that comes with...
You're raising 4 children across, time spaces. So I would like to understand, how you switch from talking to one kid to the other in the other generation to the other 2, who are across different generations. And, you seem to be doing it so beautifully. So I would like to know about that.
Welcome to another episode of Kin and Kindness. I'm right now joined by Punya, my co-host and a dear friend who's a career counselor. And we are going to dive into a journey with our guest today.
So we are very delighted to have, Priya with us today. Priya is a woman who epitomizes grace and grit. Yeah, she wears several hats. She's a fabulous mother. She's a fabulous partner, yogi, fashion icon, businesswoman, and above all, a woman of great substance and heart. So Priya, welcome to our podcast today.
Thank you so much for both of you having me here. And I feel very privileged and honored to be sharing my story and, being here. I mean, any way I can help.
Thank you.
That's truly, truly much appreciated, because this is really the need of the hour. So you have been someone who's always conducted herself with a lot of grace. Through all the chapters of your life, you've been in the public eye in your own right. But there has always been this grace and dignity. Where did that stem from? And if I can take you back to your childhood and maybe how you were, raised, and what was that environment like?
So I come from a typical Punjabi family. We have 4 siblings, and we're all 1 year apart. I'm the oldest, and then my sister, and I have 2 brothers. And we were born, my father was studying in FIT, New York, and my mother was very young. I think she was just 20 when she got married to him. He was 25 or 24. I was born a year into the marriage in New York, and then we moved back to India. He started a garment export business. So a very family business environment home. All of us 4 kids literally grew up like best friends. All their friends were my friends. And my mother was a very integral part in, our growing up. She went to every parent-teacher meeting. She took us to holidays. My father was a workaholic. I barely saw him. He'd come late at home at night. Typical families in
Also,
the
garment industry has that.
And entrepreneur first generation. So they're just so busy working and making it big. And he was, I think, him and his brother were the first generation of creating the garment export business in Delhi. And
So really game changers.
yeah,
path breakers.
Yeah, path breakers. And so they were breathing, eating, sleeping their business. So I barely saw my father, but I was my father's favorite because I was firstborn.
Right.
Just my mother was a big part of who shaped us who we are. We went to an international school, the British school. She was very keen for us to go to an international school. We all had international passports. I don't know why we were all born, except my youngest brother was born in India. But all of our siblings was born in the US. My sister in the UK, my other brother in the US for some reason. It was probably a fad at that time.
No, in fact, I must say it was ahead of the curve, huh?
Yeah.
Because now people are going, outside the country to get that passport. But
Yeah.
in those days,
Yeah.
for your mom or father, which one decided?
I think it's both of them. I think my father at the time when I was born was working and studying there, so it was
Okay.
easy. And then my sister just happened that my mother went to her sister's house. You know how families
Okay,
are.
yeah.
Right.
Come stay with me.
Maike.
You're pregnant. I'm pregnant. We'll have the baby together. So
Oh,
I don't know. It just
fine.
happened organically that way. Went to the international school, the British school in Delhi.
Right.
So my education has been I did GCSEs, A levels.
Okay.
I graduated from the British school in 97. Then I was the first child who went internationally, like to London to study, and I studied in the UK at UCL, and I did a double major with business and mathematics. So my upbringing was very simple, not too in the sense it was. I was very sheltered.
Sure.
As our family was very sheltered. My first experience going abroad was when I was 18 in college.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a culture shock because you meet all different types of people in university. And I studied math, which was also a big deal. So, but it was made me the woman I am. The foundational years was family, love, unity, four of us. My mother, my father was also there, in and out. But and then university, and then I worked in the UK, and that's how my life went.
And so then when did you meet Vikram?
So my ex-husband Vikram Chatwal, I met him in Mumbai. So the story goes that I worked as a banker for 2 years. I graduated. I did an internship. I got offered a job.
Right.
I worked in London for 2 years in M&A and in Credit Suisse First Boston in Canary Wharf. Burnt out because I worked 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then I just said, I'm quitting. I think it was the World Trade Center that crash happened then. And I moved back in 2003. And then I just said, I started working with my father. And my father diversified in 1996 in automotive, in car dealerships. So then and my mother was running the garment export business, and my father diversified. So my father said, join me. Whatever you've learned at work, come and, work here. So I created all the MIS systems and, in his office, it was all papers, and I put it all systems and processes in place, and, no more documentation. Everything was
Automated
on computer systems and all of that. And then I started the insurance business for my father, where I did auto insurance and renewals and new insurance for the car business. He had the dealerships for Ford, Hyundai, and Toyota at that time. I worked there, then happened to go to one of these college friends' government gins or some bar in the evening as young students or graduates or
that time it was gins
early
or
20s, and then somebody saw me and said, why don't you model? So I said, really? And I thought it was a joke, and they followed up and called me. So I did my first photo shoot for Cosmo magazine. And then I did another one, and then I just tasted this bug. And I went to Mumbai and I said, Dad, can I try modeling seriously? And he said, I give you 6 months. If you don't make it, come back and you have to get married. So I said, okay. I was in Mumbai and I was modeling, and I did a few ads. I think I did the Lux ad. I did a few battery ad, a TVS Victor scooter ad, or whatever. I did a
beautiful,
few.
But that time I remember you were this gorgeous person on
Thank
screen,
you.
and we all were seeing you. And especially for you to shift from such a corporate, a world of corporate, and then shifting all the way into the world of glamour, while being from a protected household. And it seems that your parents were quite, they were people who would like you to achieve something. So for you to make that shift to Bombay, how was that for you?
It was challenging. My mother and father came to Mumbai, found me an apartment, and you know, my bhaiya who had brought us up since we were bachas, so she said he's staying there. He was
So
like
really
my
protected, no?
protected, and my father being in the car auto dealership, his friend in Mumbai who got me a car and I had a driver, so it was very, very protected. And I would go do this shoots. It was just like a good experience.
Sure.
It was glamorous, but it was hard work also. I mean, odd hours of shooting and whatever. Like, you know, even the ads, you'd sit there till 6. It was painful actually. I was like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this, you know. But it was a good experience, it was a learning experience. And in that time when I was in Mumbai, I was introduced to a common friend of my ex-husband, and they saw me somewhere and they said, why don't you come to this party? And then they took a photograph of me, like, oh, my wife is into jewelry business, and why didn't you give your portfolio? Like I had done a portfolio, modeling portfolio. So I gave my photographs to them. And little did I know that they were sending my photographs to my ex-husband.
Ex-husband.
At
Okay.
that time, you know, and he had given them the responsibility to find them a girl for them in India because his parents wanted an Indian girl.
Right.
Okay.
And that's how it started. We were like kind of like introduced. It wasn't like a fell in love story and we met somewhere.
So then you had a Safira soon after, once you got married, or was there a...
So Safira was a honeymoon baby. No, I mean, she was born within 9 months of me being married. So it just happened so fast. Our marriage was very, very on public and all over.
Yes.
It was a big ordeal of the whole wedding. Now when I tell my daughter, I said, don't get married for the wedding, get married for the marriage.
So well said, yeah.
Yeah, it's about the compatibility. It's about the marriage. It's not about the big wedding. That's all.
Now, here is a girl who's been brought up in a sheltered home, but has been given enough freedom to go pursue her dreams, whether it's in the corporate world or in the world of fashion, if I can say that.
Yeah.
And then the ball drops.
Yeah.
How was that?
So, you know, a little bit about myself. I'm a self-driven girl. I still am a little girl inside of me. We all have that little girl inside of us. I'm a woman today, a mother, a sister, a daughter. I have all these roles that every woman plays. Today, my predominant role is a mother. But when I was a child, my mother was, you know, just 12th graduate. She never went to university, college. So I had this whole drive within me, in my fire in my belly, that I need to be something. And my father didn't have time, as I said. He was working all the time. So he really had no time. I had no tutors. I had no guidance. I did my college application myself. I didn't even know a college counselor. I got into NYU also, you know, but my mother refused to send me to college because she's in America. She said, oh, bahut dur hai, kaun jayega?
Sure.
We have family in London, wahan hi jao, safe. Fair enough. You listen to your parents, you succumb to that. At least they're sending me. That was like a big wow for me. So that girl inside of me, you know, was ambitious. And when I married my ex-husband, he ticked all the boxes for me because he went to Wharton. He was working in Morgan Stanley. I did banking. I did mathematics at UCL and a double major with UCL LSE, business and mathematics. He did modeling as well. You know, he did a Vogue shoot. I think there was a big trend in America, I think in the 1996 after the movie English Patient, where this Sikh character in the movie became really popular. And his turban, he was called the Turbanator or something, you know. So he did a big feature in Vogue, and I said, oh, he's also model. I'm also model. You know, and then
there's so many common
and
factors.
He's Sikh, and I'm half Sikh. My mother's Sadhani, and he's a global Indian, and I lived in London for 3 years of education, 2 years I worked, so 5 years. I wanted someone that was an Indian with the value system, who understood the traditions, but yet also very global, international. So he ticked all the boxes. And so I thought, okay, this is a perfect match. You know how you do your career path but not always, it doesn't always work. So yeah, the ball did drop hard for me.
Was it
I
a
thought I had it
moment?
all right. I was like, I knew what I was doing, but I guess I chose wrong. And it's a
You
big
chose the best,
reality.
which was for that particular time of your life.
Yeah, I thought it was. Everyone else could see it wasn't, but I couldn't. Everyone did say I think my friends, some family members said, he doesn't seem right. It doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. And I chose to ignore all the signs because I think the mind was stronger than the heart, and or your gut instinct, you don't listen to it. There are a lot of things that play. Anyway, I got a beautiful daughter out of it. And she has been, my angel. And the reason for me to survive and be stronger as a woman. So when I had her and I realized immediately after I got pregnant, a few 15 to 20 weeks into my pregnancy, I realized this marriage is not right. But I still continued to make this work. 5 years into the marriage, I decided that, for my sanity and for my daughter's sanity and to protect her from an environment I didn't want to expose her to, I decided to exit the marriage.
Priya, I do always say, people say that stay together for the children. Sometimes you've got to walk out
For the
for
children.
the children. You have to protect them from anything which is harmful. And sometimes it could just be the environment. And that plays a huge part, especially when we've grown up. What I do like about our culture is that there is family values are very strong.
Yeah.
We won't make any decisions which are going to be light or frivolent. And especially for a person like you who has got a lot of boxes ticked, that was not something for you which you would have thought you wouldn't succeed in.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you, while, of course, the head made the decision, we've got to walk out. But I felt that was there a time I said, man, I feel it's something which is.
Yes. That's as I said to you. I thought I've made all the right decisions. I went to college myself. I got my job myself. I was earning like great salary. I decided to quit the job, start work with my father, start the insurance. I thought I knew it all. Like you get overconfident, and everyone my
arrogance
parents
comes.
introduced me to, I'm like, no. I chose the guy. I was introduced to him, and I thought, okay, it worked. And it was a big learning. I failed. And with failure you learn and you come up stronger, wiser. And this experience or this episode in my life made me connect to God and spiritually stronger.
My God, that was really going to be my next question. That when did you find this the strength to connect to that higher purpose or higher God, higher being? Because at the end of the day, we realize that we are all here dealing with some karmic bank account, but not even to digress from there. Faith becomes a huge part of understanding where strength lies, so to speak. So take us towards that journey of what did you connect with? Who did you connect with? And what was that like?
So I was in New York, and I remember I was very disturbed and didn't know how to deal with the situation. I would come to India with my little girl, and my mother would take me to Bangla Sahib, and I'd go do Charlie's, 40 days Charlisa. I'd do Juto ki seva, and whatever I did. Then in New York, I think my ex-mother-in-law's friend connected me to Buddhism. And she shakuboku'd me, and I started
Interesting.
chanting.
So I used to chant as well.
Yeah?
Radhika, I
Chants
think
as well,
our
yes.
mutual friend to all
Yes.
three of us,
Yeah.
Radhika and I used to chant together as well.
Oh, wow.
At one point. Interesting to know that you were chanting.
Yeah, so I got shakuboku'd in New York. I got my gahons on from the center there, and I brought it back eventually when I got. So that when I got Shakabu and I was chanting, gave me strength to leave the marriage and gave me clarity that and it just came to me one day. Like I was praying for my ex-husband to change or the environment to change or the situation to change. Then I'm like, it just came to me. It was just dawned upon me while I was praying, that you need to leave and you need to change your environment. You can't change the person. You can't, control anybody else. You can only control yourself.
Control yourself.
And then in that philosophy, or the practice teaches you that you are a reflection of your environment, and it always says, that's the whole essence, most of the essence of the
The philosophy.
philosophy
Yes.
of I started chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Did 6 hours. I came to Delhi. I formed for my chapter where I was living in my parents' house in South Ex. There, I also did the May 3rd, victory. I had certain victories, and it was part of it. And then I plateaued. And my daughter saw me through that journey. I was working, and when I came back, I started working with my sister in fashion retail. And we got into luxury fashion retail from 2008 onwards. And we brought fashion luxury brands globally, and we had the license for them for the territory of India. And we were opening their stores, and we opened our own multi-brand store. So that started, and I started working. My dad wanted me to work to keep my mind busy, because when I came back, I was very scared, but people would judge me. I was very scared to go out socially, very, very I didn't know what to tell people, what to say, because the marriage was this big marriage and everyone spoke about it, and then it failed. And I don't like to be a failure, but I had to deal with it. And so I was going through a lot of internal, and my parents were my pillar of strength, my family. And they're like, you don't have to care what people say. We are there with you. So, and think about, and in my practice also, look at all the, if 10 out of 9 out of 10 things are going great, but one thing has gone wrong, which is your marriage. But you have your parents, you have your sister, you have family, you have a business, you have your beautiful daughter, you have your friends, good health. So be grateful for that. Be appreciative of that. So you started looking at things instead of the glass half empty, half full.
Yes.
And day by day, every day was, step by step, I was going stronger, getting the courage, getting out there,
What was
working.
that first victory? You said victory on May 3rd. So I just want to dive a little deeper there. Sometimes that first victory, straight after a hit like separation, suddenly you start feeling, no, the tide is turning. For me, it was just understanding there was it was for me, my children being more settled. They were more, in fact, COVID had hit by that time, and my children were with me during that entire duration of COVID. And I saw them laughing and having a good time. And to me, I think it was the first time, you are actually holding your breath and you don't know for how long. And suddenly just release the breath that, no, they're fine. So for me, that was a mother's instinct. And they were older, like 12 and 8. So for me, that was a big part. When did you exhale, so to speak? What was that moment?
Well, many moments, but I think the first one was, my, when my ex-in-laws called me apologizing, and,
That's a huge one.
yeah,
That's a huge one.
because for me, they didn't, I felt I wasn't valued or appreciated for what all sacrifices I made. But that was one victory for me. Second, obviously, my daughter, I was fighting for custody and I had a lot of legal battles, and the divorce wasn't easy, but I won those. So that was another one. And then of course, then I didn't the voices in my head didn't bother me anymore. Like I would think what they're talking about me, but then when I control the voices in my head, um, I looked at
Mind
life
mastery.
differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at life differently. I was able to go out there, be more open, be more confident, and be myself.
So I have a question for you, Priya. As a college counselor, I interact a lot with students and parents, and I've seen, of course, that successful parents make and raise successful kids, and sometimes kids were not as successful. But parents where you know any one parent has faced that acute hardship or something has not gone right, they actually makes almost certainly super successful kids. So you having gone through so much in your life, it was almost inevitable for Safira to have that successful stint at the end. I hear that she's going to Colombia very, very soon. So I would actually like to understand a little bit you know about Safira, where she studied, the relationship that she shared with you, and what were the various milestones that eventually culminated into this success.
So Safira's journey has been it's her own journey, but I saw a glimpse of it in her college essay when she wrote her essay, which I'll share in a minute. But what I will say about her is that yes, seeing her mother through this journey and her being in three different homes: one, her father's home, then her grandparents' home, which is her maternal grandparents, and then her new home, which is with her other family, a new family, our blended family home. So she has obviously foundational years were mostly with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Again, then she got that nurturing love, again protected. And she saw her mother's journey and me going back and forth. So she doesn't really talk about it that much. She channelizes it well. And she's also a very self-driven girl. She's been to different schools as well, like in New York, and then she went to school in India and the British. Then I sent her to boarding school in England. And she's been a survivor. And for her, she says to me, Mama, I'll never do the things that I've seen my father do. Or I'll never be in that environment. I'll always avoid those environments in that situation in my life. And for me, that is, it's appalling, or it's completely, she rejects that. And I'm very proud of her that she's hardworking on her own merit. And she's
To
got
the viewers,
ambitious.
Sorry.
She's also got that ambitious drive like I had.
Right.
Yeah, but I think she's a far more mature child than I was, because she's seen so much more. And she's got a head on her shoulders. If you have met her, you wouldn't realize that she's far more mature than her age.
Yeah. So, what sort of, nuggets of wisdom, fell from your side to her that you feel she's really, held them tight to her heart and mind, and that have led her to maintain that sharp focus, because it's not easy you have so many distractions as a child. You have your Instagram, you have your social life, you have there's a certain image that you need to put out there, you need to study, you have your extracurricular obligations, so it's not easy getting cracking an Ivy League college, but here she did. So what sort of a role have you played in that entire.
So I've actually helped her. I've guided her in a way that when I was when I was applying to college, I said, Safira, I never had all these resources you have. Like you have a counselors, you have the great school, you're doing A levels, uh, and and my parents had no time for me. I have time for you. I can sit
Sure.
and work with you and help you through this if you need my guidance. Most of the time, she did it on her own. But she's a very I think, ambitious child. She's ambitious, and she did summer programs in different colleges. She knew immediately where she wanted to go, what she wanted to study. She excelled in history, and she loved politics. She's also a very good STEM student. She's very good in math and physics. So she's doing 4 A levels, math, physics,
that's the reason
politics,
she's not here
and
today.
politics and economics. So she's she's not so much of an art student, but more of a STEM student, if
Wow.
math. So math is her strength.
Right.
Like I did
Like
math.
She
that's
gets
creativity.
She gets that
yeah.
from me, I guess, the math part. Even though now she still challenges me, Mom, do this A-level paper. Let's see if you're really a math
Yeah.
teacher. It's been a while, but if I put my head down to it, I'm
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
She's a smart girl. She's a sensible girl. She has got a high EQ,
Sure.
Oh, fab.
very high EQ. And her living in boarding school at the age of 13 onwards
Mm-hmm.
has also been, boarding school friends are her family. And not only that, her Sunjay, my husband now, who is her father, who she says dad to, she calls him, and he really has fathered her since the age of 7. And she has a beautiful relationship with him, and they've built their own relationship on their own. He's been an integral part in her also.
So if we can begin this chapter with you, that when did you meet Sunjay? And how old was Safira at that time?
Safira, I mean, I think I was just divorced. I had moved back, and we met through common friends, and we met on a flight actually, where we started chatting. I mean, I knew of him. We knew of each other. We weren't very close friends, but we just got on a flight. I had a store in Mumbai. I was going for work. He was married, and his wife and children were living in Bombay at the time. So he would go like a weekend father, and his business was here. So we started chatting, and I don't know. I mean, that's how our relationship started as friends, and then eventually, when he was out of his marriage, it was also a very not a conventional marriage, I would say,
Sure.
but a marriage that he also had 2 beautiful children from, and we loved them dearly. And today we are one beautiful family, blended family. But yes, that's how we met, and we got married in 2017, only 8 years ago. So, and Safira moved in when we got married at that time. So.
And how did both Sunjay and Safira take to each
It wasn't
other?
easy. So, and he would say things like, Safira should do this. This is the rules in the house. I said, talk to her yourself. Build your own relationship. And they did. They both built their own relationship, and today they have a beautiful relationship. Very, very close. When she first went to boarding school, he took her because I was pregnant with our baby, our child. So let me explain the dynamic. So we have 4 children.
Mm-hmm.
We have Samira, the oldest, Safira, who's mine, Kian, who's 15, and Azarius, so Sanjay and ours. So your, mine, and ours. Mine, yours, and ours. And it's a blended family. And I was pregnant, I couldn't travel, so he took her to boarding school. He did the whole orientation with her, and so yes.
And how was your relationship with his children, Samira and?
So I think when our little boy was born, he was the little glue that brought the family
lovely.
together, because he's half of them and half of Safira.
Correct.
Nice. Yeah.
So that really brought the family together, and the kids. So our 2 daughters are very close, Samira and Safira. They're just a year and a half. I mean,
such a huge difference.
Yeah, 2 years or a year and a half apart from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 years. And I think, I mean, it's a journey, and we've all grown to appreciate, respect each other, love each other in our own ways. And I can never be their mother. I mean, I can never be Samara and Kia's mother. But I know I definitely have a space in their life or in their world, someone that they can bounce off ideas with, or talk about education or other things that, we talk about all sorts of fun stuff, frivolous stuff, serious stuff. So it's, so they have made space in their world or in their hearts for me. So I definitely have that, bond and connection with them.
And that every relationship doesn't have to have a name, as long as the connection is there.
Yeah.
And there must have been a lot of patience required from you to ensure everybody settles down into a great cohabitating dynamic. Whether it is, how did that happen? How did that take place? And again, you drew your strength from your practice, your Buddhist practice, or walk us through that. What was that?
So after, I think, when our little boy was born, the children came, and Sanjay was very, determined that all the kids are, meet each other because he's half their brother. The strength obviously comes all from our companionship from each other, because we are best friends. We, understand each other. I respect his feelings and he respects mine, and we respect each other. So in front of the children, our relationship is also, at priority. So they know that as a couple, we come first, and then the children follow through. And we want to, also what strength comes in with me is that after my Buddhist practice, I started practicing more meditation. I started trying to find different practices. I went to Isha Yoga. I did the Kriya there, did different types of practices. And now I do a lot of breathing, yoga, and meditation on my own. And, that gives me a lot of strength and clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I talk a lot with my husband. We converse, we communicate. When needed, we get help from also we have a counseling, like a parent counseling. We're also studying the Gita together. So we, as a couple, we're doing things together to gain strength. We're trying to build a family constitution where we create these values, and, so the children are part of that. We're working on that. We're still in the early stages of that journey, but strength comes from, I think, from each other, from seeing our children being happy together, to create, and we have this rule, like, when the children started meeting, I said, we told the children, at least have 2 holidays together, sacrosanct, all of us. And the children were like, okay, I know they have their friends, and some of them have boyfriends, and they want to spend New Year's party with them, and blah. Like, no, you have to give us, 10 days in the summer, 1 week in winter,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise everyone's spread out everywhere.
And they have to have this one thing of coming back together to a unit. And that is, so that's the beauty of your equation, that while it's a blended family, that family has deep roots because of the connection and ensuring, things like, I was just going to ask that, what is it that you do which ensures that all of you are together at some part or some particular time in the year, that you can spend together, celebrate together, talk to each other. Where is where is Safira or Samaira, or where is Kian and Osiris? So it is so beautiful that you are building these little blocks which will ensure that these children always have their emotional resilience. There is enough of skill development around, but emotional resilience is done when parents are present, they're clued in that this matters more than just spending 24/7 together. So lovely to know that, whether it was a counselor or the Gita sessions, the mix of that, the philosophy versus psychology, the blending of that, they merge into each other. It's like a Venn diagram. Then what emerges is, something, I'm sure, which is beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of everything, and every day is, we learn something new about the children. The children also, we keep talking to them. When Safira is back in town, she's studying. We have dinners and lunches together, mostly dinners, as a family, where we have a lot of conversation. And in those conversations, we talk about our values, or we talk about, education, or we'll talk about the economy, or we'll talk about business, or we'll talk about different things, about even friendships and friends, and are they going through a good day? How's the studies going, or everything. And through those conversations, I think a lot of things are communicated, which is not even said, but they understand it and they gauge as children. And our 2 daughters are so close also. So besides our little boy when he was born, the 2 girls bonded. And that created the bond between Kian as well. And my little boy, Azarius, is a big fan of his older brother.
Yeah.
It's like,
hero worship.
And also, Samira and Kian are come from also a broken home. So for them also, like their EQ is also very high. So we have family groups. We've created a Kapur family group, and then they have another Kapur family group with their mother. And and it's interesting the communication that happens. And with their mother also, Sanjay and I have had many conversations together. I said, um, Lolo, I call her. We invited her for tea over to the house, so that we want her to make her inclusive. And then after that, from one tea, it led to a dinner, and she has also joined us on a few family vacations because the children have also requested me, Mama doesn't have a plan, and we feel, can we invite her, because we don't want her to
feel left out.
They didn't say that, but it's understood.
Yeah.
Mama doesn't have a plan. And I really appreciate that, because
and children are very protective
about
of their
mother. And I was like, of course, she's more than welcome, because I'm confident about my relationship with my husband. She's in a very good space. She wants the children to bond with the father, and also everyone's grown out of their own insecurities and issues. And we've had conversations like, now the children are more important. It's not about us anymore, our insecurities or our issues, and we can't put ourselves first. We made choices. We brought these innocent children into this world. And our responsibility now that we have that realization and clarity is to give them a good life. And that comes with good education, good value systems, a good environment where they feel safe, where they feel loved, they feel appreciated, they have their space, they're understood, and they understand us and they respect us and as well.
What was the one challenging block which took a bit of time to really, overcome, so to speak? One, no, I don't want all of them, but that one which took a little more out of you to understand it from a different perspective, maybe, or something which you thought that because you are an emotionally intelligent person, and more or less you would have covered a lot of bases, so to speak, because it didn't take you a minute, as you just said, it didn't take you a minute to understand that Samira, the children were just discussing, our mom's not doing anything. You picked it up fast enough to know, okay, invite her, let's all go together. But was there something which created a block in your mind, not in the environment? Environment, like you said, is just a
reflection of what you're going through in your mind.
So what was that block for you, your mind, which needed to switch, and then things opened up?
So obviously you are it's your space. And then I felt like, would she feel comfortable being in my space with in this, because the children have been on many holidays with us, so they're very comfortable with me and Sanjay. For her to come in suddenly and feel, would she be comfortable? Would I be comfortable? Would I be comfortable to walk out in my pajamas and just be having a coffee with that? And so all those thoughts come again, those voices in your head. Those are all very trivial thoughts which you can overcome. And also that I didn't know how it would turn out. Like, you don't know how the holiday would turn out, how the whole experience would be.
Yeah, it's like
would Sanjay be comfortable, and, and
the dynamics
of the whole thing.
The mood swings, so to speak. Especially their kids, they're us, there are other people. There can be a mood swing, and 24/7 together.
And it's also
it's
very
not
difficult
like a dinner or a lunch.
Be at your best behavior all the time.
All the time. And so it's not a holiday then.
It's like you feel like you have to be at your on your best behavior.
Correct.
And not be like in your be like yourself and just be in your skin. But over time, I guess couple of times it's happened, and now you just feel you're very comfortable. So it was a New Year card to tell you a story that we make for all the children, And my little boy goes, "Why isn't Lolo there in the picture?"
Oh, how amazing is
So,
that?
and I didn't know what to say to him. So, and he said, and he knows that she's the mother for Samira and Kian,
Right.
and I'm the mother for him and Safira. He's very clear, and for him, it's like normal. Because
Yeah.
we've never hidden that.
That's his truth.
That's his truth. And he's like, and he knows that she came on that holiday, and he's like, "But she's not in that picture. Please make the card with her in the picture." So I said, "Okay, sorry." So I made a card, another one with
Yeah.
her in the picture, and then I showed it to him. He goes, "Okay, this is better, Mom."
Yeah.
Because he felt like,
Oh
why
my
wasn't
God.
she included? Like, in the photograph, like a family card that we send out to friends, wishing them Happy New Year.
That's such a win.
So yeah,
Priya.
that's a big
such a
win for him. For him, that is, she
That's
is like a
yeah,
family member.
family.
That's how he processes her. And yeah, like for Safira also, her she's had 3 fathers in her life.
Mhm.
So one is her paternal father, her real father, biological father. One is her maternal grandfather, and one is Sanjay, who's really been the father that has made her the woman she is today. So she's had these journeys that have also shaped her. So for her also, her family is not just blended family. Her blended family also includes her father in her head, and her, my parents also, which have also been a big part of her life. So
Anything she's confused about in her, not about the relationships, but anything which she can't understand, address while she is out there in the world, whether it's with their friends, with her friends, just dealing with each of her friends. Is there anything which makes her hold back?
no, I mean, she's quite open. When we were in boarding school, and she's in boarding school now, like they know Sanjay is her father, but they know she has a biological
Yeah.
father. He's never come to her school. Her friends have not met him. They've only met Sanjay, but they know of her.
Yeah.
She speaks about him. She has his last name. She doesn't have the Kapur last name. So I mean, she's very honest about it. Like, this is my family dynamics, and this is how
And she's secure.
she's
She's
secure.
safe.
Yeah, she's secure
That
in
is
her
the
own head and emotionally. She is very sensitive about her father. Like, I would never dare to say anything to her about him. She can say anything, but if I say anything about her real biological dad, she
Yeah.
gets very protective about him, and she gets emotional. She says, "I don't like you talking about dad like this."
So Priya, in today's time, generation gap is, I would say, not even 3 years or 2 years. It's, some people say it's 1 year, some people say it's a couple of months, and you're raising 4 children who are across, time spaces. So I would like to understand, how you switch from talking to one kid to the other in the other generation to the other two, who are across different generations. And, you seem to be doing it so beautifully, that all the kids, perhaps bond well with you. They consider you as a parent, as a buddy. And, this is the skill of switching and versatility is not, found in many. So I would like to know about that.
It's very challenging because I have to take care of like a little 6-year-old, and then from a 20-year-old, 18-year-old, and a 15-year-old is like raging hormones, and they're very temperamental,
Right.
mood swings and all of that. So you know, as the kids have grown, the older kids have become more of like a friend and than a parent. So the parenting has really stopped. Yes, there are boundaries that they can't, and rules and value systems that we have said that these we would like you to maintain and respect, and they do.
Sure.
And they're very well grounded, humble kids. I would say, no matter what kind of exposure, backgrounds, or luxuries or whatever we give them as parents. The 6-year-old, I've become a full-time mom now. I stopped. I closed down my business after COVID, and I look after my son. I drop him to school in the morning, and so the things I couldn't do when Safira was young, I'm doing with him because I was working. I was going through emotionally a lot. And when I see a lot of things he was doing when he was born, and I think I never saw Safira do that. I missed out on all of that because I was probably blinded, or I was so busy and working and getting my life back together. coming back again after failing and falling to the ground and just lifting myself up. And that was my journey, and I missed out, and my mother helped me bring her up.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I missed out on my daughter in those early days, but I'm there for her like 100% now. Since I moved in with Sanjay, I've been with her at full time, 100% there. But my little boy, like, I'm literally doing the things that I didn't do with Safira, with him, and being a mom again, and school drops, pickups, play dates, activities. And I'm not a young mom, but I have to do it. And so, yeah, the juggling is there. And my husband's also doing it he also is managing the same dynamics. Like, we're doing college applications for Safira till last few months ago, and
taking another one to a play date,
and like bouncy castles and all that.
So you mentioned you had to close down your work during COVID. So through the episode we've understood Priya as what she was in the modeling world. We've understood Priya as a math genius, as an independent woman who's lived her life on her terms. I want to understand Priya as a working woman post. So when you got back to India, tell us a little bit about what you were doing professionally, what were the milestones, what were the highs and the lows, what is the business that you were running that you decided to shut shop soon.
So I was running a fashion luxury business. Me and my sister started with Tommy Hilfiger. We had our first store in Southwick, Part 1. Then we got a license for Moschino from the Alberta Ferretti Group. We opened the first store in Taj Colaba in 2008. That's when we ventured into fashion luxury. So we were the first girls to bring fashion luxury fashion to India. So earlier on, there was Louis Vuitton. They were bringing luxury accessories like bags and shoes. We bought fashion. So Moschino was our first store. Then we opened a store in the DLF Mall, Emporio. We opened our first multi-brand store, Kitsch. We opened Marc by Marc Jacobs. And we had the franchise for these brands that we had exclusivity with. Diane Von Furstenberg, Marc Jacobs, FA Group, which is Moschino, Alberta Ferretti. We had brought Stella McCartney from the PPR Group. So we had signed up these exclusive contracts, and we had the license to bring them. We had to open the monobrand stores, and we could also open a multi-brand store. The business was, obviously, the margins were great. It was a luxury fashion. When we opened, I think even Susie Menkes came to India and did a whole fashion or a luxury conference at the Imperial, and I think it was 2010, or 2009, where she did it. And Hindustan Times also did these luxury conferences every year. And so we spoke on a lot of them. And it was a very, profitable business. I mean, the EBITDA margins were like 45%. And those kind of margins to have in a business is great. But this business is like, what I learned in it is capital intensive. It was a lot of learning. It was very challenging. Real estate was very expensive, rentals. Capital intensive because you have to buy a lot of the merchandise. And then the sell-throughs weren't that good. So if your sales are, 50%, if your turnover is 50% only, and your rest of your inventory is still not sold, and your rental is like 20% of your sales, and you're not in the right business, basically.
Oh.
So, but the margins were so good. And, just before, I think it was in 2008, we were getting a private equity investment into the business. And then the Lehman Brothers thing crashed, and then they pulled out. And we thought we could pull through. We can open 10 stores and then get a valuation, because I came from that mindset that, let's just go out. We got a lot of, we took a big loan from the bank, and we opened like stores in Bangalore, UB City Mall, Emporio, Delhi, Mumbai, Kala Ghoda. We opened, and in Pune. So we opened stores and tried to get a valuation, but the stores rent, the sales weren't happening. Then there's employee cost, and then also the overheads, the duties. It was before its time. And today, I think the
I
market
was
in India
just
is
going
ready.
to
Yeah.
say,
It's
my
not
Before
God,
its
right now.
time, when we
your
did that.
father was ahead of the curve. Here you were ahead of the curve. Maybe now it's time to get
Yeah.
that.
And everyone comes
Because
to me, Priya,
everybody
do it
now,
again, Priya, do it
yeah.
again. I'm like, no, I know this business inside out. Whoever's doing it, and now all like the big people are doing it, like from the Reliance Group to the Birla Group are doing, who have deep pockets,
You know,
and they can do it.
Sure.
But this is a very capital intensive business. And you need to have deep pockets to do it, and the right real estate, the
and
right
that capacity and
yeah.
that, that fire is when we have it then. Maybe we are now like,
yeah,
been there, done that. Let's move on to the next
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So,
The
by
next
choice,
step.
you said you're a full-time mom now, but you obviously have this super mind, analytical brain. So do you land up, applying any of that in Sanjay's business now? Is there some role that you play, or just bouncing off ideas, strategy, etc., or you try to stay away from it as much
No,
as?
so Sanjay, when we got together, he lost his father in 2015. So suddenly a lot of responsibility fell on his shoulders. And he was left alone with a business which his father was running in Germany at the time. And he had to, turn around and do a lot of things. And so obviously I didn't work with him, but he bounced a lot of ideas and spoke with me all the time. And I was very much in the know of what was going on. Um, I do help him run the family office business with him. So I do a lot of investment decisions with him. So that analytical mind of mine still stays a little active with him in that aspect. Even today, he bounces off ideas and business deals that they're doing, whether we should do this or we're not, and etc. So I'm very much in the know. We have a great relationship with his CEO also. But Sanjay's journey has been also very interesting as a father, as someone who lost his father and then had to take over the business, turn it around. And he was going through a divorce at the same time.
What?
So he also has been through so much,
Yeah.
and we were together in it, and we've come out of it, and he's become out of it as a very successful businessman. And
Yeah. And what was it that really attracted you to him? It's not that you didn't have people who appreciated you, but what was so special? And what was that connection? What were the
I found
so-called green
Sanjay
flags?
very endearing, honest, misunderstood. A lot of people misunderstood him.
It's like the
And
Prince Harry of India.
yeah, probably, yeah, he plays polo. Everybody thought he was. He's still very passionate about his polo.
Right.
To the fact that we move with him in his polo season. He plays professional 22 goal, high goal polo in England. So as a family, we move there. And it just happened my daughter's in boarding school, which is 15 minutes away. And we put our little boy has to do two different schools, one in England, one here in India. So then we moved back as a family because business is here. Um, but he's very passionate about his polo. No, yeah, he's misunderstood as a has been, but he is now today very respected in the automotive industry. He was the president of ACMA. He is now the president of CI Northern Region. He has built his own name, and his father obviously was a legend in this space. And now today he is filling his shoes. So and walking in his footsteps, so he makes us all very proud. And he's also had to make those harsh decisions and choices, and most of them have turned out really well.
Right. So you mentioned, you play a pivotal role in the family investment office. Any one investment, that probably came from your gut and instinct and, thorough research and acumen that really worked out, and perhaps something that, you felt slightly bullish on, but eventually
And
did not turn out to
pre
be.
October 2024.
And NSE shares. I was very bullish on that, and it has turned out right so far, touch wood.
That's excellent.
So when I was pushing for it, I said, come on, do it. Like apprehensive because there were some articles about, I think NSE was going through some legal issues, and with the SEBI or the governing bodies, but now that all that has cleared. But yeah, so that I was bullish about, and that's worked out good. I was also very bullish about cryptocurrencies. And Sanjay was like, no, not with Vajpal, but eventually they understood because it became legalized.
Yes.
So,
and if you got in before that,
yeah,
the jump would have been phenomenal.
yeah, exactly. So I did a lot of studying during COVID time. We had a lot of time, so I did a lot of studying on the blockchain. So I did self-study during COVID. So all we did was
really sit,
either
make
after
coffees and study
study or drink lots of wine or cook and find new hobbies and passions. So that Coursera course that went online during COVID times, I enrolled in the blockchain courses of that, and I studied the blockchain and understood what it's about, and this whole space of cryptocurrency, and so then I explained it to him, the relevance of it. And so those are the two things I was bullish about, and he wasn't. But
so what is this one thing which you think, or you would think that he really respects about you? Because respect is a big thing.
He says I am his MPV, most valuable player.
Oh, that is so lovely.
Yeah,
that is so lovely.
I'm his most valuable player in his life. So that I guess he says in every aspect.
It says it all.
So whether it's being his wife, a mother for all the kids, his companion, even colleague, everything. So
you touched upon this topic of Sanjay being misunderstood, and somehow you had the clarity to see the goodness. In this world full of judgment, especially you must have been on the receiving end of it. What is the skill set you have to see the person for who they are and not what they project? He
or not what the world sees them as.
Them. What is that one thing you're looking for, which is the story he's saying is not correct? There's something else behind that curtain, so to speak.
I mean, because I was more spiritually aligned by then. So I intuitively, you can tell, when I made the wrong decision about my ex-husband, I was just thinking with my head all the time, and a little bit of arrogance gets to you. So, and then you fail, and then and then humility comes in, and then you start from bottom up, and then you connect to beyond yourself, to another higher power or energy, and you depend on that. And then a lot of things start working, or you start tuning yourself with. So those are the things that made me realize that Sanjay is misunderstood, and he's not the person that people think. Everybody did say to me, "What are you doing, from the frying pan to the fire?" And I was like, yeah, I know you all see it that way, but trust me, there's more to him.
In fact, in my mind, I was thinking there was this one guy who was perfect, Vikram, your ex, where everything was matching, and that didn't work out. So this was now like
nothing was matching.
Nothing was matching. And now you knew better, so to speak, right? That it isn't about the cover. It is about the, what is behind that, what is behind what people are showing.
And I think I've been a victim of this because I'm always judged. So it's always, never judge a book by its cover. So I've always been judged. And when somebody gets to know me and meets me, realizes that I'm not that person they think I am. I may come across a little reserved, or I don't open up that easily. It takes me time. But I'm not a person that one would think I am, like I think too much of myself, or I'm like, unapproachable, or I'm just a little reserved.
Yeah, sure. That's so lovely.
So we have this round called Behind the Closed Doors, where we generally ask our guests a few questions about themselves and their co-guest if they're invited. So Shubhani and I are going to be shooting some questions to Priya, and let's see what she has to say. And through this, maybe some of the quirks, idiosyncrasies, etc., would come out. So, Shubhani, do you want to go?
I will be asking you questions which you have to answer from Safira's behalf.
Okay.
Right? So the first question is, what's something you or your mom, which is you, do that instantly tells her that she's now in the boss lady mode?
Tells her that I'm in the boss.
boss lady
She
mode.
calls me Tiger Mom.
And when is that? When
Rightfully
is that
so.
instant?
All the time, I guess I'm like, Safira, study, oh Safira, like you have your applications. So during the summer break, I think that's when she realized, and she had to do her SAT, she had to do college applications, and she was doing ED and all the deadlines. I said, if you manage your summer break well, you'll be chilled by November. Obviously, she didn't because she was having too much fun. And then the Tiger Mom kicks in. Because the Tiger Mom is kicked in.
That's fantastic. Now, from her perspective, what would your personal motto be? Like, what would she tell us about your personal motto from her perspective?
I think she would. My personal motto:
Yeah.
live in the moment and work hard and party hard.
That's fantastic. And I'll ask one more so that we. That's a nice one. Has there been a moment where she has mothered you?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. There are many moments when I'm just like, sometimes I'm not perfect. And all the thing, like sometimes you go through all your, meditation or counseling or Gita lessons. There are moments
Of
that I am a
course.
human being, and then I reach out to my daughter and I chat with her. I said, today was not a good conversation with your dad. Or, and then she said, Mom, this is how you look at it. You have to be really mature. Or even like, for example, this holiday that I was telling you, even that I said, how's it going to be? How's it going to be? I'm just like very nervous. And she's like, just chill. Don't think about it. Just be yourself. Don't you don't have to like be over pleasing. Just be normal. Just be normal. Like it's your home, your space, and and just behave very normal. Like advice that I'm getting from a 16-year-old or at that
So
time a
clued in.
15-year-old. Like,
So
they're like,
clued in,
just
no?
be yourself. Because if you overdo it, it'll look fake. Don't
True.
overdo it. And
Yeah.
don't be too fake. And don't be too attentive. Just be yourself.
Okay, one more question. When her friends meet you, what do they always say afterwards? She must be coming back and telling you, oh, Mom, now they're saying this about you.
Her friends think I am very strict and they think her dad is very cool. So they call him, where's your dad? He's so cool. He's so much fun. Well, but at the same time, they also they think I'm like fun loving
Sure.
and but I'm the stricter
bad cop.
parent. Yeah, I'm the bad. So but he shoots a gun from my shoulder. Trust me, it's
Oh, for
all
sure.
an act.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool, Priya. So I'm going to be asking you some questions now about Safira. First question: what's that something that she's done or said recently that made you go, "Wow, she's really ahead of her age"?
Oh, wow. She hasn't even gotten to college and she's already thinking, I will um after my 4 years at Columbia, I think I'm going to do an MBA, and she wants to study international relations, so she wants to do um the MBA IR program, and she's already thinking
The
where to
NPA.
go and where to
Wow.
apply. Like 4 years.
So
So
yeah, the
she-
exam.
yeah, I finished your first 12th class. So she's already ahead, which is I'm like, wow. And I'm quite happy.
After this podcast, I'm going to send you some links for the
Yeah.
joint
Yeah,
NPA MBA program.
please.
Yes, yeah.
Please do.
Okay, great. Is there a childhood moment of hers that you wish you could relive? Just one more time.
Many moments. But there was this when we were going for visitations. When we used to go to New York a lot for visitations, and she was with me. And she was this YouTube craze was going on, and she was only 5 or 6 years old. And I used to make these YouTube videos for her. And she had this YouTube craze of these young kids had this.
they
Right.
really did.
And she I think she was aspiring to be one of those YouTuber
influencers
at that
yes.
time.
Yes.
So it was fun because we'd make these stories together, and I said we'd make a script together, and those are fun moments. And that. And she sang a song. She sings in Marlborough also. She's done her 8th grade singing. So when she was before even school, she sang. And I went to a recording studio. I think she was only 10 years old. She was like, "Mama, can I record it?" So, and I have the video, the recording. And then she made a video out of it. All these little moments are like, they're special to me. So I want to just relive them with her again. And now she cringes. She don't know how you allowed me to do that. Just
for my moments.
yeah. So those things that she cringes. She's like, delete those YouTube videos. I'm like, no, not at all.
Right. Okay, so if Safira did not choose Colombia or the US or her current intended major, which is international relations, to study, what would she choose according to you, and why? Like, what would her plan be if neither of these things worked out for
I think she was, as a joke, she would tell me, if none of this work, I'll go to U Miami.
her?
And I would be like, sorry, no, you're taking a year out and you're going to work.
Right.
As Tiger Mom comes
the focus comes right back.
Tiger Mom comes back in. She's like, there's no way. If you don't do any of this, then there's no way you're going to go to and waste your year in any college. Just work or do a work experience, take a year out,
Right.
understand why you failed, and
I find
work
even
upon it.
travel is actually quite educational. Like,
Yeah.
in case you have to take that year out, no?
Yeah, travel or work for a non-for-profit or do
Right.
some
Yeah.
philanthropy work and give back, or work in the factory from ground zero, whatever her passion is.
Because it's all about the growth,
Yeah.
education growth, spiritual
That's what the
growth,
admission officers also want to
personal
see.
growth.
That.
Yeah, and also
Where are you growing?
And I think it's better to fail when you're younger, because you
Way.
learn from that, as
Oh, yeah.
failing when you're later in
Yeah.
life.
Also, failure doesn't then hold that, the sword on your head that, oh my God, if I fail, then everything is finished. You failed, you've come up, it's fine, it's not, it doesn't have the fear anymore attached to failing.
Yeah, it does.
Once you do it when you're young, then you're like, yeah, there is another, there's always the tide will turn, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, she would joke with me, Mom, I'll go to U Miami. Like, never. And her dad and her would
And Mom,
joke.
you can come over and we can chill at the South Beach.
Yeah, suntan and have fun with party college. I'm like, no.
Okay,
The
so
dad would have said yes.
No, Dad was like, they were obviously joking. They knew that Tiger Mom would not appreciate these jokes. But they was purposely said just to see a reaction.
Shout out
to
you.
So one moment, recently or from the past where, you were almost pulling your hair out because of some act of hers or some behavior of hers, and, which didn't fly well with you, and you were like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah, I said this summer, like the time management, she was doing her SATs and she was going out and meeting her friends. She wasn't able to manage her time. And she was waking up for classes, missing her classes, and called, Mama, I missed it. Can you please call him and tell him? And I don't like lying. So I had to make an excuse, or she had a doctor's appointment. And I said, I don't like doing this. And it really upset me because, again, this is something that is against our value system. And I was like, I don't like doing this. I've done it for this once or twice. Get your act together. Then I had to send her to her friends, another lady who, and make her counsel her, because she obviously wasn't listening to her. Sometimes children need an outside perspective, or a friend or a family friend that they look up to. And the parents, they might just feel like, oh, they're just nagging. And she had just, I think it was just summer break, and it's that time where all kids are just out and about, and some of our kids are older, already got into college, so they're relaxed. They don't want to go out. I'm like, they're already in college, you are going, you have still so much to do. So that's the time, I think, and she was doing a summer internship and SAT, and she was doing an online summer program and college application. So she had too much on her plate, but she wasn't managing her time. And she had a breakdown crying. She's like, Mama, I can't do it. She broke down crying. And I was also like in a moment of, didn't handle it well. Like even when I had to calm down because she was in a position of vulnerability. And if I lost it then it won't help.
So Safira is a cook, Safira is an event planner, or Safira is a therapist to her friends?
Therapist to her friends, 100%. She's the one friend that all friends call for advice about anything
so
and
true.
everything.
My
And she's
older one-
therapist to mom also sometimes.
How brilliant. Okay, so my last question to you. What does unconditional love and kindness mean to you, Priya?
Wow. Unconditional love is beautiful. And I'm very lucky to experience that with my children and my husband. And kindness obviously is, you know, I see kindness in everyone. Everyone's kind, um, but it's also very difficult to be kind all the time and look at things. But yes, it is. Everyone's kind and loving, and my husband's very kind. He's fathered my daughter like his own child, and I'm very, very blessed and lucky to have that in my life, and my daughter to have a stable father figure that she can look up to and understand what a father is. So yes, that for me is kindness. And I'm blessed to have experienced unconditional love with all my children and my parents, my husband.
How beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priya. This was such a beautiful conversation we had with you. Thank you so much for your vulnerability, your insight, and just letting us be part of your journey just a little bit.
No,
So
most
thank
welcome.
you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
having me.
Thank
It was
you.
lovely chatting to both of you.
Thank you so
and
much.
I hope my story will or could and can
for
help.
Sure. For sure. I think we all need perspectives from a very holistic point of view. It's not the circumstance, it's how you react to a circumstance. And I think you've just said everything which needed to be said. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Priya. So today's episode was, very poignant. We had Priya in the house. We learned about blended family. We learned about how she's a tiger mom. We learned about unconditional love that she has experienced from her kids and reciprocated. Uh, Kindness, what it means to her, the love that her husband Sanjay is given to her, and how he's been a father figure to her daughter Safira. So we got to interact a lot about family dynamics, holidays, relationships, high points, low points, careers. And this is what kin and kindness is all about. It's getting to address various issues that family members face that do often get unaddressed. And my co-host Shabani and I are pleased to do this with our guests and take the message out to the world that life is very short and we should live it meaningfully and purposefully. So stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram, Kin and Kindness. Follow us on YouTube and on Spotify, and be a part of our journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.